Okay, all right. Sorry, I didn't realize. I was like, I talked so damn much. I didn't realize like we were on a time schedule.
Oh
Like,
no, 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 no. Now you're fine. I mean, it's completely fine now. I was like, I was when I was looking at the thing and it said less than a minute, and I was like, I don't know what happens at 40 minutes. What happens?
I said, it becomes the Oscars. That's what happens.
That was. I'm not kidding. The single most embarrassing thing that has ever happened. You're slowly popping. Okay, I think you have a black screen.
Oh, don't worry about that. That's my big reveal, man. That's what
Oh
that
my God.
was. You didn't even know. You were like, wait a minute, what's happening? And all of a sudden, I hit you with the what?
Oh my
Hey,
God.
like, hey, look at that. See, that's what I do when people don't know. If people don't know that I'm black, this is how I
Yeah.
talk to them. This is, you know what I mean? I'm just like, they're like, why can't we see you? And I'm just like, listen, it's better that way. It's just better that way. You know. Then I hit them with the reveal.
You don't think people can tell you're black by the voice?
Well, it depends. I mean, to be honest, most people tell me that I don't have any accent at all.
Hmm.
As a matter of fact, uh, those who listen to the podcast StarTalk that I do, I've had many people come to my social media and say, "My God, I didn't think you were black." Now, you know, there there are definitely times when I have a black scent,
Uh-huh.
without a doubt.
Yeah, yeah.
And then there are other times where my suburban middle class upbringing uh, takes precedent over the way that I speak.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
it depends. I mean, I think most black people code switch in this way if you are a part of both uh, cultures, you
Yeah.
know. So the dominant culture, of course, is the American Caucasian culture, is the dominant culture,
You're right.
comprised of many different ethnicities and cultural subsets. But because they were able to assimilate, they all share this kind of base platform culture that we call the American culture. Black people, unfortunately, are not able to partake in that because we are separated by skin color,
Right.
uh, which has led to a particular subset of cultural identifiers, namely how we speak, certain of course cuisine is part of every culture,
Yeah.
but the way that we dress, our music, which then filters up. Normally culture filters down, but with black people, culture filters up. We do something and then the greater society adopts it
Right.
and it becomes ubiquitous because we do it. And
Yeah.
I shouldn't say we because it's not like I'm actually creating any
It's the,
cultural
it's the
differences.
phenomenon. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
I'm not the one that's making it happen, but those who are avant-garde and on the cutting edge of pop culture and that are firmly um, influencing the zeitgeist. They are the ones, they're normally black, that actually change culture. Hip hop comes to mind particularly.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
I don't even know how we got. This is what happens to me.
No, 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 no.
You bring up any subject, and I will just start talking some shit.
No, I love it. I mean, that's exactly how these things go. I mean, to bounce off that, I was watching CBS Mornings this morning, and Gail King was interviewing Jay-Z, and he has that new Brooklyn library where you can go see his master recordings and go see all of his lyrics posted and quotes on the wall and everything. And I
Hold
mean,
on
just
one
looking.
second. I'm sorry. I hate to do
Right.
this to you, but I I gotta get some headphones here because. So the reason why I was late.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on to that, Jay-Z. You can see his master recordings is exactly where we left off.
Yeah.
Because I hate interrupting people and then going, where were we? Just want to let you know that I was indeed paying attention. But the reason why I was late is because City decided that they were going to replace my sidewalk today.
Okay. Good choice.
No, we had no idea. No idea. By the way, they just replaced the sidewalk a year ago. So I'm like, this is what happens when your neighborhood. This is what happens. You live in a, I hate to say this, but a white neighborhood. When you live in a white neighborhood, this is what happens. Any day, they just might be like, you know what we need? We need some new sidewalks. You know what, guys? Here's what we're going to do. Tomorrow, new sidewalks for everybody. That is not happening in the ghetto. Okay.
No. They leave the sidewalks as they are.
Exactly. So anyway, back to Jay-Z, please. And let me just double check because I put this in. I want to make sure that the microphone that we are using is the MacBook Pro. Okay, cool. And you can still hear me fine.
Yeah.
So, okay, now, so you could go see his master recordings, everything like that. He's talking to Gayle King, and what happened?
Yeah, and it's just it was only part one of a 2-part conversation that the second part's coming on tomorrow. But it was just fascinating to see his growing from the 90s, from him sitting on the stoop, and just he's really doing this all for the kids and the culture and the community, and he wants to help elevate those things, and he was definitely he was a progenitor in all of the things of that early 2000s, and even now, with the music that he makes, he's just one of a kind is what I'm trying to say.
He is, and I have to admit, I got to get over what happened between me and Jay-Z. Something he doesn't even know that happened.
What happened? Please indulge.
He doesn't even know this happened, but because of Jay-Z, anybody who ever meets me, you will never meet anybody who says that I met Chuck Nice, and he was a real asshole to me. Okay, you're never gonna I met Chuck Nice. I asked him to take a picture, and he was mean to me. Or I met Chuck Nice, and the reason why is I used to work for a radio station. It was my very first remote job where I was the co-host of this show, and they were like, it'd be cool if you went to the Nets game because the Nets was a sponsor, and they said, we'll send you to a Nets game. You'll go backstage and interview some of the players and stuff after the game. And I was like, yo, that sounds cool. Backstage, but outside the locker room.
Yeah.
Right? Jay-Z comes walking by.
Okay. With
his whole entourage. Now, I'm like, they sent me here to get some players. If I come back to this station with an even hey, what's up, WNEW, this is Jay-Z, whatever. I don't care what it is. Just for him to do that would have made me hero among heroes. How did you do that? That's what they would have been. Aside from the other people who would have been like, Jay-Z, who exactly is he? But it would have been those two reactions, okay?
Yeah.
And I was like, Jay-Z, can I get you to say a couple of words for the people listening on WNEW? He's like, sorry, I'm not talking today. And I was like, yeah, you could have done it in the time that you said, sorry, I'm not talking today. And then one of his people got kind of snippy with me because, and I get it. Nobody, listen, no one can demand your time, period. And time is very precious. No one can demand your time. But I'm going to tell you something right now. If I saw a young person, because this was years ago, but if I saw a young person standing, trying to do something, you know what I mean? And they said, Chuck, can I get a couple of words? I'd be like, I'm going to give you just a couple of words. Yo, what's up, blah, blah, blah. This is Chuck Nice, and I'm going to keep going.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what I'm doing for you. I don't know what I'm doing for you. All right. But not everybody thinks like me. So I'm going to tell you the truth. Ever since that day, every time somebody mentions Jay-Z, I can put my response has been, he can put his big ass lips on my black ass. That's what he can do. Go to hell, Jay-Z. That's what you can do. But I need to get over that because quite frankly, nobody can demand your time, and
Yeah.
he's under no obligation to do something like that for anybody. But I'm just saying the broadcast business is extremely competitive, and it is exclusionary.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's exclusionary. So if I see anybody who looks like they could maybe benefit from my help, then I'm going to do it just for those reasons and those reasons alone. Not everybody is me, and I need to get over that. That was maybe 15. When did I work for NEW? Almost 20 years ago? That was almost 20 years ago. That was 20 years ago. So I need to let it go, because I'm sure he's great and everything that he does is wonderful. And he's married to a goddess, and I can't say anything bad about him, to be honest. And he's a musical genius and all of that. But for some reason, whenever I think about him, I go right back to that day, and I'm standing outside of the Nets locker room, and I'm just like, hey, can I get a couple words? He's like, I'm not talking today. And I just felt so dismissed. And, he's lucky, and because he's got a big entourage. What I wanted to say was, man, F you, piece of, because I'm from Philly. That's how we respond to people like that.
Yeah. 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 Yeah, and then you guys, then you go destroy the city because your team's in the championship.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Well, how else are you supposed to celebrate?
Just don't celebrate by destroying half the
when
town.
your team wins, it's like this is an opportunity for you to create economic opportunities for everyone, and you do that by tearing the place down. Because
Yeah.
anything that's torn down must be built again. So that's all. That's all that's happening in Philly.
See, I'm a Dallas fan, and
oh Jesus! And you see
they
the
don't-
hat
they don't
I'm
do
wearing.
that. Yeah, I see
You
the
see
hat.
Well,
I
y'all
see
don't
that.
have no reason to tear anything down.
I mean, I'm just looking for them to put Jerry Jones in a casket and just end things with that
Let
family.
me tell you, that's when your troubles will end.
Yes,
Okay,
100%.
I'm sorry to tell you, but that's when your trouble. Everybody is Dak the problem? Is your general manager the problem? Is the coach the problem? Is it the play call and the coach is going to play the calls this year? But no, none of that is your problem. I'm going to tell you what your problem is. Your problem is you got an owner who thinks he knows football. That's the worst kind of owner of any business. Any business. I'm gonna tell you, if you were to talk to Jeff Bezos and said, tell me about the
Washington Post.
tell me about the Washington Post. Tell me what makes it work. He'd say, I don't, that's not how I operate. I don't know what makes the Washington Post work, nor do I want to. What I know is how to hire people who make the Washington Post work.
Right.
And then they come to me and they say, it's working. Okay. So yeah, I mean, that's the kind of owner you want to be. You want to be that kind of owner. And he's not. He's the kind of owner that's just like, well, this is what we got to do. Soon as the person running stuff, when you're running an operation big enough, the moment you say, this is what we have to do, it's over. You lost.
Yeah.
Here's what a real owner says. Guys, what do we have to do? Boom. Now we're in business. So sorry, Dallas fans. Not that I really care.
You're waiting for the entire team to implode again.
I'm waiting for Micah Parsons to come to the Philadelphia Eagles. That's what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for Micah Parsons to get poached and well, he can't. He's probably like that contract is so big and solid. You know what I mean? But yeah.
Look what happened with Ezekiel Elliott. I mean, they got rid of him in an instant whenever he started going downhill.
Yep. So. Yeah. They got rid. That's true. Actually, Micah could have 4 bad games and end up on the Eagles.
100%. Yeah. There's still time. They can fumble that bag.
Yeah, they could. That's true. That is true. But anyway, what are we doing? What's up? I'm sorry.
I don't know. Hey, look. I feel like I'm part of the. I'm like I'm a test audience for your new TED Talk. It's been a couple of years. You're jumping back in with a new TED Talk. You came.
Oh no, I'm not. No. This is what everybody thinks.
Yeah.
I'm doing a comedy special that looks at our relationship to science as a society. Basically, what I'm tackling is the celebration of ignorance in this country through comedy. But the TED Talk was very specific, and it's done in a very specific way. And what I realized when I did the TED Talk, which is called The Unintended Consequences of Human Interaction and Technology, look it up, people, please. It's a really good TED Talk, but it's not comedy. It really is a TED Talk.
Yeah.
But it's a straight up TED Talk. But it is funny. But what I realized afterwards was there was an appetite for people to talk about things that are nerdy, geeky, science-based, but in a funny way. And so I was like, well, I wonder if I did a comedy special, but I did it in my style of comedy, what I call dick jokes and data. So
that's a good title for a special.
The special is called Chuck Nice Just Smart Enough.
Yeah.
But you could call it Dick Jokes and Data.
Yeah.
Because I do offer some information, but the idea is I don't want it to be like a TED Talk where you're actually learning stuff. You will take away some information from this if you're a person who's just not so scientifically literate. I do base everything that I'm saying in fact and, in science, but at the same time, what I'm really talking about is why and how in this country, and mainly because of social media, we have just started to celebrate dumbassery. It's like it's cool to be stupid now.
Yeah.
And so that's really what it's about. But it's called Chuck Nice Just Smart Enough. By the way, when does this air? When do we air this? Will it air before November 18th?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I'm looking at the poster right now. I mean, yeah, this will be out as early as next week.
Okay, so anybody who is listening to this, if you're in Manhattan or going to be in Manhattan on November 17th and 18th, go to chucknicecomic.com and pick up some tickets to see my comedy taping special. And the reason you need to pick up tickets is because the tickets pay for the special. So I got to sell the tickets in order to pay for the actual taping of the special. So, you get a great show, and then you'll be responsible for my being on Netflix.
Now, so is this a self-produced show?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So that means you're going to own everything. Because I like that more when a comic is able to really own the special and everything, because when there's too many hands in the pot, then I think that's when the comedy gets diluted.
Yeah, no, this is me just doing me. You know what I mean? Like, this is me on stage talking about science in such a way that, I'm very passionate about it. Anybody who listens to StarTalk, which is the podcast and, social show that I do with Dr. Neil deGrasse Tyson, some people say that I ruined the show because, I'm not serious enough. Some people say it's so great that I'm on the show with him because I make it fun and funny. You can't please everybody, and, nor do I try. And, it's like I read something today where this woman was just like, your politics are awful. And when you're doing a science show, you shouldn't talk politics. And I just felt I don't write anybody back that writes me something negative, because who cares?
Yeah.
But I wanted to write her back. I'm sorry. I forgot you were the only person in the world with an opinion on politics. You stupid cunt. No, I'm joking. I would never, ever do that. I would never do that. But I do think those things often. But anyway, I mean, like, the deal is that it's comedy, it's information, and it's the thing that I am most passionate about outside of comedy. So I figured I'd bring them together.
Yeah, I think that's a very valid and easy and simple way now to deliver information, is through some sort of entertainment, with bringing some value to it. Not that information doesn't have value, but just making it funny or making it interesting. I mean, that's why I think of Adam Conover. People really, engage with what he does because he's able to make you learn something by the end of it. Whether you agree or disagree, you learn something. And that's what people can really take away from what you do.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it's really about, is just first of all, the only thing I want from anybody You don't ever have to agree with me. Opinions are opinions,
Mhm.
okay? But objective facts are just that. And all I want is for people to be able to decipher between what is an opinion and what is an objective fact. So, when you have people who basically say things like guns make us safer, well, there is data out there that proves that to be just the opposite.
Mhm.
And this is where critical thinking becomes very important because anybody can say anything. But what critical thinking, what science does, what the scientific method does, is it bypasses the bullshit.
Mhm. Yeah.
See? So you can say whatever you want. I don't have a problem with that. Okay. What I have a problem with is people who just get their information from one source and say, well, that's it. And then they repeat that information. And
Yeah.
that's how we end up where we are. Whereas critical thinking is several sources of information cross reference to figure out what is valid. So, you have 10 pieces of information, data points, and 9 of them line up, but one of them is an outlier. And then you have somebody who cherry picks the one.
Yes.
Well, if you're a person who does research and you're able to see the 9 other sources, you can say, oh, you know what, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's missing in our society today because information is cheap, information is plentiful,
Mhm.
and information is not valued. It used to be information was valued because it was hard to get.
Yeah.
Now, what we attain too easily, we esteem too lightly, making it of little value.
Mhm.
So it's okay that information is everywhere because I can pick up a phone and say, oh, it's such and such, boom. But now where do I go from there? See, that's really what it comes down to, because your search engine optimization may make it so that the wrong information comes up first.
Yes.
So it's okay to use the internet, but what you got to be able to do is you have to source the internet itself. You can't let the internet be the source.
Mhm. Exactly.
so,
Yeah. I mean, it's just
so
it's you have to follow up. You have to continually check and learn and relearn. Like I can't look up how to. My dog is right next to me, so I can't look up. I don't know why this thing just did a thumbs up. I'm so
that's
sorry.
so cool, man.
No, I don't like it. It's through the new Mac OS, and it pisses me off
I
anytime.
haven't downloaded it yet. But what is it listening in on us? Is that the
No,
deal? It was
it's
just like, good
every
point, Chuck.
so every time it accesses your camera. So every time you like do like a double thumbs up or you do like a peace sign or whatever, it's gonna do these video things, and I hate it so much, and I
No,
don't know how to turn it off, and I have to Google it. But like I was saying, like my dog, if I'm trying to teach him how to walk on a leash, I can't just go to one source and
right.
say this is the definitive way to teach a
Yeah.
dog. There's
Choke,
multiple ways.
chokechains.com. You trying to teach your dog how to walk on a leash, you go to chokechain.com. You like, wait a minute.
Like that's the one thing.
What is wrong with these people? This is the only thing I can do to teach
Yes.
my dog to walk on a leash. That's right. Choke the hell out of your dog and
Yeah.
you'll get him. No, you have to source the internet.
Hmm.
Okay. If you let the internet be the source, then the first thing that pops up is chokechain.com. Now here you are walking down the street and people looking at you like you Michael Vick
Just like dragging her along.
dragging the dog along. You know what I mean? Oh my God, look at that man. He's terrible. No, but when you source the internet and you go to several different outlets and you cross-reference, you're like, oh, okay, I see seems to be a consensus that this may be the best
Yes.
method to do that. And that's how you learn. That's true
Yeah.
learning.
Yeah.
Well, we live in what I call the passive learning era, where people they don't want to research. They want you to give them an answer.
Yes. Yeah.
Give me the answer, and I'm like, okay, everybody knows when you're in school right? And you're taking the test. You're not supposed to go to somebody, what's the answer to number 4? What's the answer? What's the answer to number 4? Give it to me. Because giving somebody the answer, the test is there to see how much you have learned.
Right.
Not just to prove that you know this one or two things. It's to see how much you've learned. So if somebody gives you the answer, yeah, you got it right. But did you learn anything? No. So
No. Yeah. Now, where did this because as adults, as we grow, a lot of people tend to not want to continue learning things, and it seems that you on a daily basis, especially with StarTalk and with giving comedy specials that are just a guideline for teaching. Where does your passion and your want and your need for wanting to learn come from, to continually do this as we grow older?
well, I'm going to say that one, I've always been a closet kind of geek nerd, but I haven't been very good at acquiring information in traditional channels the way we normally do. So, just to give you an idea, when I was in high school, I used to cut school and go to the library.
Okay. All right. Well, all right.
So I'll never forget one day I cut school and my sister caught me and she was like, "What are you doing?" Like, because I was like, "Oh, I'm not going to school." She was like, "I'm not going to school either." And I was like, "You got to go to school." She was like, "If you're not going to school, I'm not going to school." So then she was like, "Where we going?" So I got on the bus and we went to the main branch of the Philadelphia Library. And she went, "What? We didn't go to school so we could come to the library? Like, what the hell is wrong with you? You are the stupidest." Like, this is what you. So she went home and told my parents.
What?
Yeah, she was like, she was so mad. She was like, "Chuck made me cut school today, but we went to the library. It was the dumbest thing." And so, my mother was like, "Why did you not go to school today?" And I was like, "Sometimes I just don't want to be there because I'm not learning what I want to learn. I have to learn what they want to teach me." So I've always been a person who liked information, but certain things I'm not just not interested in.
Hmm.
You know, I'm not that person anymore. Now I'm interested in everything.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I feel like I've wasted time, like all this time that I was doing other stuff. I could have been knowing things,
Mm.
or learning things. So I think the other thing is too, the aside from being a person who's always been curious, but not really in the traditional sense. The second thing is the more you acquire knowledge, the more it excites you.
Mm.
So what happens is it doesn't feel like you know things. It feels like I really don't know enough. So, as much as I have learned being on Star Talk, it scratches the surface of all that I don't know.
Yeah.
So all I want to do now is just keep knowing more, learn
Mhm.
more, get more information.
Right.
That's why I love, sitting across from, Dr. Tyson. And that guy, he's probably just one of the most knowledgeable people I've ever met. But he's also a lot of fun. He's fun to talk to. And he's funny. So, you put that all together,
Yeah.
it's great.
Now, you're a big guy, and he's a nerd. Do you ever just think about wanting to beat him up sometimes?
He is twice my size.
I did not know that he's a big guy.
He's huge. He's a
Oh,
big
wow.
dude. He was a wrestler.
No.
He looks like a football player when you meet him. He's literally twice my size.
Wow.
Yeah,
So he's got to fit that big brain inside that head.
I guess so. He's got a fat head.
That's how you know
So
he's
that's
smart.
that big brain. You know
Yeah,
what I
that's why Stephen
mean?
Hawking couldn't walk because he had that big
Yeah,
fat
his
head.
head was weighing him
Just
down. That's
way to
why
push
every
him
time
down.
his head was always tilted down. You never saw Steve. It was either back or down. It was never straight up because
Never
that's how
straight up.
big his brain was. He was either the
Yeah.
head was down or it was back. So
People kept getting mad, like, why don't you look at me in the eye? Come on.
exactly, it's like
Now,
Steven, you're so disrespectful. But
now when when did you start applying knowledge to comedy? Or did were they always like in tandem when you first started doing stand up? Did you always know that you wanted to impart some of the things that you learned, or did one come before?
no, but I think all comedians have a point of view and they want to share that point of view. Um, I don't care who they are. I
Right.
mean, you look at Dave Chappelle. I mean, a lot of what he says, they're just social. It- he's not talking about science, but a lot of things that he talks about are social commentary. Many,
Yes.
much of it on race, you know, and some of it him making fun of his own community. You
Hmm.
know, when you drive through the ghetto, man, it's like liquor store, gun store, liquor store, gun store, liquor
Yeah,
store, gun
yes,
store.
yeah, yeah.
You know, I was riding in, I saw the baby. Looked out the window, I saw a baby.
Hey,
I was like,
baby.
hey, baby, man, what are you doing here, man? It's dangerous. Get out of here. It's like, nigga, I'm selling weed.
Yes, yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh
So
God.
these are all social commentaries,
Hmm.
and he's sharing a point of view
Yeah.
um, that informs. So that's the deal. I think every comedian wants that, except for guys who write jokes. Like the joke writer dudes, like.
Hmm.
But even they're writing jokes to inform.
Yeah.
So that's really where it comes from for me. You have a point of view, but my point of view is, I want people to embrace science. I want people to get excited about, the wonder of everything. And that's what science is, When you ask why, that's science. When you ask how, that's science, and then you go to answer that question and then you see if you can repeat the answer. This is the scientific method. That's
Right.
what it is. And it works for everything, and there are things that cannot be answered. And for those things, we believe in God.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's, most people, some people don't, but the fact is that, it's really about the point of view and sharing information and informing people.
Hmm.
That's what all comedians want to do in some way.
Yeah, and it's and now it's so important now to just kind of expanding on that. You have to and you share it in a different way, and then you also share it in the ways that are acceptable by the world. So it's first it was on Facebook, and then it was on Snapchat and Twitter, and now it's on TikTok. And again, that's where the information overload comes from, and the misinformation overload with that. And it just again it goes back to parsing it out, and it's tough. But I think for comedians and creative people in particular, as much as I don't like social channels like TikTok or Instagram or whatever, I do think that those are the perfect ways now in order for a comedian or somebody in that creative field to get their points across.
Yeah, I mean, I hate social media just with a passion. So, I mean, I have to be on it
Yeah,
and I have to do better because in the business now, if it's not working on social media, it's not working.
exactly. Yeah.
And people, when you go to talk to them, the first thing they want to talk to you about is your social following and who. I go into meetings and they're just like, so Chuck, let's talk about your social following. And I'm just like, well, I only have 12 followers, but I'm like Jesus. They're very, very dedicated,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah.
It's like, but that's the thing now. It's like you have to be on social media now
Yeah.
because this is where we find everything, which I'm a little I'm a little hurt by that. You
Yeah.
know, I think we have it a little backwards. I mean, I was out to dinner with some friends of mine last night, and it was so cool because I know we're good friends because nobody picked up their phone once during the entire dinner.
Oh, that's a unicorn in today's world.
Yeah, we sat, we had a 2 hour dinner, we
Mm,
sat at the table. Not once did anybody pick up their phone.
wow.
We just talked and ate, and you know, we really shared one another's company.
Yeah.
And there was a young couple sitting next to us. When I say young, I mean like they were like it, it looked like teenagers, which means they were in their 20s. And the entire time that they were there, they were both on their phones.
Ugh.
And I was like, "This is a date?
Yeah.
This is terrible." Like, God, I would be so insulted. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd be so insulted if I was out with somebody and the entire time, and they weren't even faking the funk; they were just in the
And it,
phone.
ugh.
And they're sitting across from one another. And I was like, you guys do realize you did not have to leave your house to do this.
Yeah. Just have dinner at home.
You could have
On
had
the
dinner at
TV.
home and then just been on the and talked to one another on. You could have actually been talking to one another. And then I was like, wouldn't it be funny if they were actually talking to one another while
Oh,
they were
just
at the
text.
table? They're just texting back and forth at the table.
Just sit and then like it just like they're like texting and then they go, "Oh, did you see this?"
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. Yeah. So yeah, man. But that's why I hate social media. You know.
yeah, yeah. Well, Chuck, I didn't want to take up too much of your time. I think I got everything I needed. Let me just look at my questions here. Yeah, but this was fantastic, and you know what? I'm gonna say something. You taught me a little bit just by talking to you. I learned a little bit of things just chatting with you here.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
the intersectionality of humans and being human and the science around us and all that stuff. I
Yeah.
mean, you go everywhere. You're an educator.
Well, who knows? Don't fact check me. That's all I'm saying. Don't.
All right. So
Yes.
you said,
Be a critical thinker unless I said something, in which case you just blindly accept it
mhm,
and say that was great. You know. So
that's how culture started.
let me
Just
tell you
saying.
something. Let me just say this. I'm going on record. I would not mind being a cult leader. Those guys live well.
They
They
definitely do.
they live well. That's
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, they can't do any wrong. Look at Donald Trump. Okay, now right now, I don't care who's somebody's offended because I said he's a cult leader, but clearly he's a cult leader,
Yeah. A hundred percent.
that's one man of color to another man of color. Okay,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. I'm not trying to disparage. I never want to bring down another brother of color, but the fact is that he's a cult leader, and the way he's a cult leader is every time they move the goalpost on what is acceptable,
Mhm.
and and then he violates that line, they make up an excuse for why it's okay because it's him.
Yes. Yeah. 100%. Every single thing.
And that is the quintessential sign of a cult leader. And I say to my family all the time, y'all don't love me because if y'all love me, y'all would treat me like Donald Trump. Okay, y'all don't love me
I'm
because
gonna
I don't
start
get
using
that.
that.
Yeah, y'all don't give me that kind of love. I want that kind of love in my
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
Okay, I want that kind of love.
Say
Okay,
the dumbest thing in the world and
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 they're
still
just
be
like,
accepted.
Chuck, you're so crazy. That was great. Oh, that was great, man. Like, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's just like, you know what I figured out? Here's what I figured out. Okay. It's about us. And US. US. That's us. You know? But they won't give me any credit for that. No, man, that was awesome. That was brilliant. You're a brilliant dude, man. I want that kind of love.
That's true love.
That's Okay. All right. Sorry. I didn't realize. I was like, I talked so damn much. I didn't realize like we were on a time schedule.
Oh
Like,
no! Now you're fine. I mean, it's completely fine now. I was like, I was when I was looking at the thing and it said less than a minute, and I was like, I don't know what happens at 40 minutes. What happens?
so it becomes the Oscars. That's what happens.
That was I'm not kidding. The single most embarrassing thing that has ever happened. And there was one time I interviewed a comedian and I had their special up on my laptop and I hit a button and it started playing at full volume and they heard themselves talk and I pressed stop and then he started laughing and I was just
Oh,
utterly destroyed. It
that's
was
hilarious.
yeah.
That's great. But anyway, listen, it's great talking to you. Let me just tell people once again, the Midnight Theater on November 17th and 18th in Hudson Yards. So if you're in Manhattan or anywhere near Manhattan, because it's basically the train station. So like, I don't care where you live, you can get to this theater. It's a beautiful theater, man. It's a multimedia theater with screens all over the on every wall. It's going to be really cool. I'm
Mhm.
really looking forward to it. So, get your tickets. Be responsible for putting me on Netflix, which is very cool.
Yeah.
And yeah. So come on out is what I'm saying to all the people. Come out. Chuck Nice, just smart enough. November 17th and 18th, the taping of the special.
Well, now, quick question: with these screens, are you going to be able to do anything with them?
So here's the thing. We're doing the walkthrough next week to
Okay.
figure out, am I going to just run a loop of static images on the
Uh,
screens, or am I going to have the screen speak to what I'm doing on
yeah.
stage? Which, I'm not sure yet
Okay.
because that's up to the director, because screens change the lighting, so it changes the lighting of the audience, it changes the lighting on the stage.
Oh, got it.
So as the images change, the lighting in the room changes. So
Okay.
he may say, no, man, I need to make sure that these same pictures run over and over again. So I
Yeah.
don't have to worry about correcting for the lighting as the special is actually
Yeah.
taping. So, those are things I leave up to other people, but we'll see. It's a good question. I appreciate it, but we'll
Yeah.
see.
Is the audience going to be on camera? Are you shooting them, or is it also just going to be you?
Audience will definitely, well, Neil deGrasse Tyson will be there. So,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Of course. And I hope you at least reference him or talk to him in some sort of way.
oh, of course I am. I'm definitely going to point him out in the audience, and I got to make fun of him in some way, shape, or form. I wouldn't be, it wouldn't be, it would be comedy malfeasance if
Yes.
I didn't point him out and have some fun with him whatsoever. One of the producers wants to uh, get him to do like the open for the
Mhm.
show.
Oh yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
and I
That'll be
was like,
good.
that's a pretty good idea, actually. Have Neil open up the show. So, and now, ladies and gentlemen, Chuck Nice. That'd be super cool.
Ooh, yes. Like just
That'd be,
have I don't want to produce for you, but have like a kind of like a Cosmos type thing where he's narrating and then it all like circles back to you and goes, and this is Chuck Nice. You know.
that's a really cool idea. So the other producer who, I have guys who are you know, of course, helping me put this all together, even though I'm
Mhm.
paying for it. I wish they were paying for it, and I was putting it together. That'd be
Right.
a much better deal.
Yeah.
But anyway, one of the guys, he was like, he thought it'd be funny if Neil told a joke, right? But purposely like a terrible, terrible joke,
Yeah.
you know? And then he were to say something like, oh, what, you think comedy is easy? Comedy is hard. Here's Chuck Nice, or
Yeah,
something
yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
I like
I'm
that.
like, that's cool. That's cool. But I kind of love the idea of the Cosmos theme. And then, it's like, um, scientists don't know exactly what dark energy
Mhm.
is, but in our best estimation, we have been able to figure out that it's not Chuck Nice. Ladies and gentlemen, Chuck Nice, you know, something like that.
Truly, truly. It's the only reason I say that is because I work in my day job is in television production, so
Oh, I didn't know that.
I have
Okay.
ideas. I have ideas all over the place, and
Yeah, I love the idea of him doing like a short little Cosmos thing, and then the answer is Chuck Nice.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Or the answer is comedy. And now here's Chuck Nice. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
feel free to take that idea. I'll take an
Yeah.
IMDb credit, whatever it
No,
takes.
no worries, no worries. I'm all about giving credit where credit is due. You know what I mean? That's how people keep working with you.
Yeah,
Where you
100%.
it's like, listen, I'll give you all the credit in the world. Just don't look for the money.
Yeah, exactly. Because hey, look, I know there's none there, none to be had right
Yeah,
now.
those are the best. The best producers are the ones who give credit. And look at HBO.
Mhm,
Now, HBO has some of the best programming ever.
mhm.
Okay. They go from hit to hit to hit. Sopranos, what's next? Game of Thrones, what's after that? The Last of Us, and then
Yeah.
a myriad of others, right? And the reason is because they just let people do what they want to do. They
Mhm.
let them take all the credit, win all the rewards. They just take all the money.
Yeah. Yeah. Billions and billions of dollars.
Billions and speaking of Carl Sagan, billions
Yes.
and billions of dollars. But the reason is because they're like, no, no, man, do your thing. That's, you know what, you're smart, you're great, you're good, do your thing. And then they sit back and rake in all the cash.
All the cash.
If you ever produce anything, people, that's the way to do it.
Mhm.
Look at HBO and do it their way. Like I said, the moment you say, this is what we should do, you lost.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
it should be, what should we do? and then
Exactly.
and then take everybody else's great
Sit
ideas.
back. Huh?
Yep, yep, yep,
This is
yep.
good
What
time.
do you, right? You know, Tim, you're not really contributing. What's going on?
That's perfect. That's awesome.
Well, listen, man, such a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you, Chuck, and I hope to talk to you again soon.
Definitely, we will.
All right. Have a good one.
Peace.